We are here at Sachsenhausen concentration camps, one of the first camps in Germany that was built by Adolf Hitler. The first people that ended up in camps like this were people who politically opposed Adolf Hitler, or pastors who from their pulpits preached against the new Nazi regime that was emerging in Germany. During the time of Nazi Germany, there were different types of Christians here in the land. There were those who were the bystanders, the silent majority, those in a way who empowered Adolf Hitler to do what he was doing because they never spoke up. Another group, they very deliberately aligned themselves with Adolf Hitler. They were called the German Christians. They endorsed Nazi ideology, but then there were also those who belonged to what was called the confessing church, Christians who took a bold stand here in this land and who stood up for their biblical principles in a time of darkness. One of those leaders was Dietrich Bonhoeffer. He was known as one of the founders of the Confessing Church, a group of believers that saw themselves as Christians first and then only as Germans. They always insisted that our Christian identity in Christ Jesus need to override our national identity. And because of this approach, many of them were persecuted and many of them ended up in concentration camps like this. Another prominent figure that was standing up against Adolf Hitler's Nazi regime is Pastor Martin Niemöller. Martin Niemöller has a very unique story that in the beginning of Adolf Hitler's rise to power, he actually aligned himself with Adolf Hitler and he felt he was the right man to lead Germany. But very quickly he found out that Hitler would be a man who was leading Germany into destruction, and he started to use his pulpit to speak up against the evil regime of Adolf Hitler. Martin Niemöller was a very well-known figure in Germany. He was a known submarine commander in World War I. He was a national hero for many people. That means he was a very prominent person. Many people looked up to him. So when the SS came and picked him up, Adolf Hitler made sure that this man came into a special confinement, and this is exactly where we are standing here in Sachsenhausen. This block was a solitary confinement area for special prisoners. Pastor Niemöller was called the prisoner of Adolf Hitler. So he was here in a solitary cell, and the people who were in the other side of the camp, where thousands and thousands of other prisoners were, they were never able to see and even know that Martin Niemöller was here in prison camp. We have seen today that there have been people who were standing up against the regime of Adolf Hitler, but the main challenge in Germany were those people, the majority of the people who remained silent. Martin Niemöller made a famous statement at the end of the war. He says, "In the beginning they came for the communists, but I remained silent because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the unionists, and again I remained silent because I was not a unionist. And then they came for the Jews, and I remained silent again because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and nobody was left to stand up for me." The book of Proverbs says in chapter 31, verse 8, to speak up for those who have no voice and for those who are destitute. And here at Sachsenhausen, I want to challenge you to be a person who God can count on. Be a person who speaks up when you see unrighteousness, and be a person who stands for the Jewish people and the state of Israel in our times.